Hey guys, out here in my workshop and just finished getting my 838 back together. I completely took it apart and gave it a detailed cleaning and ended up painting the speaker cones as they were stained. It looked like something had been spilled in them at one time, and I used some thinned black acrylic paint and I gotta honestly say, I think it actually improved the way it sounds. It seems to sound better like with mid-range bass than it did before. You guys like my beer signs? And as you can tell, I'm a motorcycle fanatic. I don't know if any of you guys ride too or not. I got a Triumph Street Triple and an 84 Yamaha RZ-350 two-stroke. If any of you guys are into bikes and been around for a while, you probably know what that is. Anyway, other than the speakers, one other thing I had to address was the cassette holder. Before, when you would hit eject, it would release the cassette holder, but you would have to manually pull it down with your fingers, and I found once I got it apart, there's actually an arm in there that actuates a bell crank, and the bell crank drives another plastic arm that serves as a piston into a hollow tube, and the piston rod has an O-ring attached to it. And I think what happens is the grease that's in there from the factory, just with its age, dries up and causes a lot of stiction, and so it doesn't want to operate smoothly to dampen the ejection. It just basically doesn't let it move. I've actually seen this in some other videos of the 838 that I've seen online. So I cleaned my tube out after I disassembled it with some denatured alcohol, and then I relubricated the piston rod and O-ring with some silicone shock oil that I used to use in RC cars for the shock absorbers, and it seems to work real good. Before, when I had the piston disconnected, the springs in this are actually pretty stout and it flies open with authority, so the relubricated piston rod just kind of dampens that tendency and kind of makes it more of a soft eject, so that works much better. I don't know if any of you guys can tell me that have the version 2 of this box what this memory is for. I cleaned this switch, but I have no idea what it's for. I thought maybe it might have something to do with the counter, but this deck doesn't have a music search, so I'm not really sure what that's used for. When I cleaned it, one other thing I noticed, I don't know if you can see it in this video, it's having a hard time focusing, it looks like, but the record button actually has some red paint on it, and the stop has some blue paint. I never noticed that it was so dirty before. They all kind of just look brown in there. I did clean the cassette mechanism and the heads and the cap stand roller, and all that's working good. The binaural and expand is working now. I guess it just needed some deoxit, and I put some deoxit in the switch and cycled it several times, and then gave it one last little shot to clear out any corrosion that was still in there. So that all is working really good now. One thing I did end up doing is this trim piece, if you remember, was bowed out, and I tried clamping it several times, and it's almost as if this section had expanded some in length, and I could not get it. If I tried to push it in here and here, it would want to pop out over here. And my plan was to use epoxy, and I thought, I don't want it to be that permanent. So what I opted to do was just make a thin cut here and removing just a little bit of material, I was able to get both sides to lay flat. But I really want to do something to fill this, so I'm researching what my options are. I don't know if maybe I could mix up some epoxy with some paint and try to match it to this aluminum color and fill that in so it's not as noticeable. But my thinking was, it looks a lot better like this than it did all pulled loose and bowed out. I did clean the switches real good. So that all is good to go. And kind of cleaned the case up and did some polishing. All this trim and stuff here around the mics is in really good shape, as is around the tweeters. The speaker grills are real nice. I cleaned in all of these line-in ports really well. There was a lot of gunk packed in there. And the only other thing I have to do is I had to remove the residue that was left over from the original foam. Had deteriorated so bad. So I found some spare foam pieces. I just need to trim them down and hot glue those on there, and the cassette door will be good. That's pretty much it. The plastic, the cassette holder did have some minor scratches in it, as well as here on the tuner face. There's actually glass behind that, so this is just plexiglass here on the front. But I actually found that using this Novus, or that's not Novus, it's Meguiar's Plast-X clear plastic cleaner and polish, actually worked really good at removing light swirl marks and scratches. So all that is completely blemish free. So that's basically where it's at. Sitting right next to the RX 5250 that I recently picked up. I already have a video of that up on a separate post, so just wanted to kind of show you guys what I did with it. Peace.